Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about Socrata's new in-story table visualizations. So to begin, we'll start by creating a story because um, this visualization can only be done in story, so we can't do it, from primary page or whatnot. It has to be in a story. So we'll go ahead and name this new table viz story. Okay. When that loads. So, this should look familiar. We're just basically on a regular story. I'll use this template just to, use it as an example. We don't really have to worry about, title for this example, but we'll go ahead and, pull in a content block here. So pretty much, however you would pull in or use or insert a table into a story. It's what we're following these steps here. But there's a couple things that are different now with this new update that just came on to the platform here. So we'll go insert, and then you'll see this should look familiar. Same, 5 links here, but we'll go to create visualization. But this is a little different. We used to have another kind of item here that said, insert table, because previously you could create filtered views outside of a story and then insert them. But now the sort of way you move through things here in a story is a little bit different when you want to insert a table. So we'll go to create new visualization. It'll bring you to a list of all the assets on the platform. So for this example, we'll use all projects. Okay, and then we'll click select. Okay, so this should look familiar. It's basically, if we wanted to create a chart or anything like that, it has all the, little icons here you can pick from. But as you'll see at the end here, it looks like a little calendar, but it's a table. We have the table icon here all the way at the right. This is brand new. So we'll go ahead and click that. And as you'll see, there's nothing populated. We have to give it some inputs. But as we go over here to the left, you'll see a couple things. You'll have, the data selection tab, the hierarchies. If we go to presentation, you can put a title on it, a description, and you can show the source data link or not. But for this example, we're gonna work within this tab here, the data tab. So we'll open up the data selection, and we have a few options here. So we have select all, which means you're going to show all the columns, and we have reset. It's not available right now because we don't have any columns selected. So to start, we can do, we'll click this little drop down here, okay? And so it'll provide every single column that is available within this all projects data set here. So, you could click through each one and, add that to your list if you want to. You could, keep clicking through, you want project number, but, let's say you have a ton of columns that you don't want to just kind of scroll through. You can also type them in. So let's say I want current phase. So I type in current, it automatically filters that drop down list to current phase. Let's say I want construction cost. If I can spell, or no, I'm sorry, I already have that added. But yeah, you get it. You can just type in any column you want here, and then it'll show up, and you can click on it, and it'll add it to that table. So if we don't want any more, this is our list, or this is our these are the columns that we want. That's all fine and dandy. Let's say, you know what? After you think about it, you're like, I don't really want any of these columns. You can either click each of them out, or you could just click this reset button. So you click reset, and it'll bring you back right to the beginning, and you can start over if you want. Again, there's also this select all button here. So as it says, if you click that, it'll give you every single column, because just have everyone. And again, you can just click through individual ones if you want, but it may be just easier to start from the beginning and just type in all the columns that you want if you know that, if you already know that list of columns that you need. So it's pretty slick. It's easy to bring in columns and whatnot. So let's do, as an example, we'll do project ID. We want construction cost, project title, current phase. Let's bring in island and maybe a couple others like construction date or project number. Okay, so we have our list here, and it'll automatically show you what that table is going to look like on the right side here. So let's say we don't want construction cost all the way at the front. So we'll click on these 6 dots here right on the left hand side, and we'll click and hold, and then we'll move with our mouse wherever we want this column to be. So I'll move it down a couple here. As you'll see, the table here on the right renders what you just did. So I moved construction cost all over here between island and construction date, but let's say I want island to be a little bit higher up, so we'll move it between project ID and project title, as you'll see right here. So that's another quick way to move around the columns in your data set. And yeah, no, it's pretty slick. So another thing before we move on is the ability to change the widths of your columns. So previously, you'd have to go within the story and change that, or if you wanted to, but you could do now here in the canvas mode. You could just click and drag each end of the column, or for a project title, let's say I wanted to see the rest of the project title, I could pull this all the way over so I could see just a little bit more. So it's very helpful. And, if this is the table that we want, we can boom, go ahead, insert, and then it'll insert your table as is. But we want to talk about another portion of this new table visualization. So we'll go back in, we'll hit edit, and we want to talk about hierarchies. So hierarchies basically provide a rolled up summary type level for your data, and it'll help digest some data a little bit better from a higher level. So to do that, we're under the hierarchies tab here, and to start out, we'll just click set up first hierarchy. So as you'll notice, the same columns that were up here are now down here as well. Just able to work through them. So in its simplest form, there's no groupings, there's no roll-ups right now, and it just says ungrouped right here. Okay, and we can minimize or maximize that if we want to. So let's say I want to roll this, or I want to group this data set by island. So what I would do is I'd come over here to groupings and then hit island. As you'll notice, that island where it was down here, it shot all the way up to the top of the list here and has a check mark, so you know that is grouped by. And it'll also tell you here it's grouped by island, and same with this little tab right here. So as you'll see, we have all of the records grouped by island. So if we click down on Kauai, you'll get a list and all the raw data for all the projects in Kauai. So what phase they're in, what project ID, the title, and if there's a construction cost, and construction date if there is. So that's just an easy way to kind of minimize the table and what you have to look at. So let's say, for example, I want to see I want it to break down by current phase as well. So I click current phase, again, it shoots up towards the top. And so now we have our data set grouped by island and current phase. So again, we'll use Kauai as an example. We'll click into Kauai, and then you'll see the groupings of about 5 different current phases here. So we'll go, I want to see all the projects in Kauai in design. And so the table renders, and you'll see all of the project IDs, the project titles, and then we have a construction cost here as well. So we'll go back up a little bit, And let's say, you know, I like this grouping, but I want to make some other adjustments to it. So I'll go through two things here. Let's go through duplicating. And so we'll click these three dots right here, and we get a drop down that says duplicate. So like I really like this hierarchy. There's a lot of, if there was a lot of groupings to it, and I didn't want to have to go through and recreate it a bunch of times, you could just duplicate it. Down here you'll see it's the same one, but this one, I want to change it. I want to change it just a little bit. So I want to group by project ID as well. Okay, so there's another layer to it. And as you'll see, you'll know which one you're grouping or which one you're looking at by, again, the title changes, and it created a new tab, and it'll tell you what it's broken down by. And let's say I also want to see, in this one, I want to see the breakdown. I want to see, another functionality we can do is aggregate some numbers here. So we'll look at this aggregation column here. And let's say I want to see all the construction costs for projects, and I want to see the sum of it. So by default, you have either no aggregation, sum, count, average, min, and max. So for this example, we'll do sum. So as you'll see our table rendered as I was talking, and you'll see the breakdown for construction costs by island here. Okay, so let's click Kauai. And again, we're still in this second hierarchy here. We'll click Kauai, we'll do design, and then it'll give you every project's breakdown for design costs, or I'm sorry, construction costs for projects in design. And then as you'll notice here, it still provides you the high level, total for design in Kauai. So if we roll that back up, we'll do that. And let's just say, for example, we didn't want to see, like we wanted construction costs, this summation. We wanted this all the way, towards the left here. So what we could do is we could scroll up, click on construction cost, and click and drag all the way up towards the top. And that would move all the other columns. And since, we're already using, for this second one here, we're already using project ID, current phase, and island, anything past project ID here is where that column would start, if that makes sense. So, since we move all construction costs all the way to the top, that's technically our first column after these groupings here. Okay. So to move on, there's a couple things. Let's say, you have a bunch of hierarchies or groupings, and it's tough to really tell the difference. Socrata gives you the ability to change the title if you want. So, I could change this by clicking on the pencil icon, deleting all that. We'll call it hierarchy number 1. Okay. And there's a 70 character limit for these. So, once you change that, it'll change the tab name here and whatnot. So you can click through each one. And, when you insert it back into your story, again, it'll hold those tabs and you can just go back and forth to whatever you want. So we'll keep editing. And so, some more of these little functionalities here. So let's say, again, we want to duplicate that, which we already showed. We have a reset if we want to go right back to the bare, the first step, basically, where nothing is grouped and we can pick from whatever we want. Or we can remove a hierarchy. So it's like, what, I don't want to reset it. I just want to get it out of here and I just want to see one hierarchy. So, let's say I'll go to this one. I want to get rid of this one. It's, I thought it was good, but I don't want it anymore. So I'll just hit remove. And now we're back to one hierarchy here. So we can roll that up if we want, and it's already, labeled however we would like it to be labeled. Okay, so next part here would be, it's just like any other visualization chart, whatever, you can add filters. So, if we wanted to add a project ID filter, we could. And so once you insert that, you can hit insert, and then you'll see this little, what looks like a filter button. If you hover over it, it says filter. You can click on that, and again, your project ID filters right there. So we'll go back into edit, and then one of the last things I want to show you guys is, let's say, for example, we just reset this whole thing, so we have the raw data here. To make it look a little better, we'll move construction costs down a little bit. So let's say I want to sort. So let's say that I click on island. It sorts it by island for a single sort, but let's say I want to do multiple sorts. So we'll just do island. We'll do, if we want to do construction costs, we'll do current phase and island. And so we can do that by holding down the control button and then coming over to here and clicking the column again. So you'll notice now island has a 1 and current phase is a 2, which means there's a multiple sort going on. And you can have, however you want it. So I can hold down control again and click construction date. And there you have there you have it. You have multiple sorts for this data set here. And then you can also insert it, and then it'll hold those sorts. So, a couple awesome updates from Socrata. The table, they look good. They're working pretty well. You still have some of the same, functionalities that you would have on the older table format. So you can just click that. You can view the source data. You can export the data if you want to, that kind of thing. So these are the new table visualizations. And again, this is only within a story. We can't create these outside of a story and then insert them. So, but it does give you a lot of flexibility of what you want to see and how you want to show it. So, thank you for your time. Have a good day.